Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I want to take some time out of your day to tell you about this game called chibiMobsters. Now this is a, obviously, mafia or mobster themed game where each player is going to take on the role of an up-and-coming gangster that is trying to make a name for himself and trying to put the mob boss of their choice, or the mob boss from the group of their choice, into power. So they're the kingpin of the big city. And you're going to be doing this by using this big giant deck of cards that has multiple uses for multiple purposes. And there's all these different things that go on as far as the different powers of the cards and what the cards can be used and how the cards get flipped around and so on and so forth. But I'm going to show you that, as I always do, on how to play the game, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you more about this one. Okay, so how to play chibiMobsters. Alright, I've gone ahead and set up the game of chibiMobsters for a 6-player game. What that means is I'm going to use every single deck of cards that is with this particular game. This game is set up into 6 different gangs or modules, basically 6 different mobs, and each one of those has 20 cards in their deck. They have the Jamaican Posse, the Hong Kong Triads, the Italian Mafia, the Russian Bratva, the Japanese Yakuza, and the Jewish Mob. Now, that can be designated by the different color in the background. Like the Jamaican Mob has the flag of Jamaica in the background there. Here we have the Jewish Mob, and they have the background of the purple background here, the mob or the mafia, in blue, and so on and so forth. And so then, when you begin the game, each person is going to get one of these little spots that they have, and they put that right in front of them, and you're going to do a draft to get your starting 2 cards. I'm not going to go through the process of the draft. Basically what you do is you turn over 6 of these cards, and these cards both have what's called a boss side, which is this, and they have a goon side, and the goon is what you use for the cards you have in hand of the goon side. You'll notice that the boss side actually has the goon side right there, so you don't have to flip the card over to see what the goon side has. But you draft 2 cards, and so here I just have these 2 cards. And these cards will have stats on them. In this case, like the top one is like basically their attack value. The middle one is how much money they're worth when they want to hire somebody, and the bottom one is their charisma, or their ability to make allies. Now you'll notice that there's an axe there and a sword there. It doesn't matter. You notice that there's 2 different types of money there. It doesn't matter. That's all considered the same. So that would be a 6 attack and a 6 money and a 2 alliance if I were to combine these 2 cards together. But you don't have to. You can use any number of cards for whatever purpose it is in your turn. On your turn, what you're going to be wanting to do is you're going to be wanting to try to claim one of these cards that is presently out there and available to you for one of the 3 things that it gets you. If you do their hit value, if their attack value, notice like there's a 6 here, if you can get a 6 or more, you would then claim that card and you would put it over here as a hit value. And at the end of the game, they're going to be worth some victory points. If you do the middle value, which is the money value, it's a higher action. And you'll take that card, you'll flip it over to the goon side, and then you will have that card and you'll be able to put that in your hand and be able to use it at that point. The bottom side for the alliance is just that. You form an alliance with that particular mob boss, and then you get to take it and put it underneath your little card here, and then you get this alliance bonus that the card gives you for the rest of the game. So, on your turn, you just basically have to take the cards that are part of your hand, and you're going to have to decide what you want to do. Now, if you notice these 2 cards I don't have a lot of the alliance stat. I've only got 1 on each of those. So I want to maybe take a card out there that's going to have a goon that has a high alliance stat, maybe as a higher action. You'll notice that this one, if I could take it, it actually has a 4 listed on there. I could see that here as well, because it's the same thing. So if this is available on my turn, what I could do is I could take these 2 cards, because it has a total of 6, and I need a total of 5 or more, according to this figure, to do it. I place those over here in my fatigue side of my like little display here, and then I take this card and I put it in my hand. And now I have this card, and I have that for Alliance. Now, whenever you take a card off, you have to then replace it on the spot and do that. And so that there's never an empty location. It should be noted that if you play this with 3 or 2 players, you will only play with 4 cards showing. But in this case, since we are playing with 6 players, we will go ahead and have all 6 cards showing. Now, normally at the beginning of the game, like, you don't have any alliances, you don't have any allies. But before you take your action, you can use any of the ally actions that may possibly be given to you by the allies that you have. Ally powers are varied, and they can be things that are just to gain you more victory points at the end of the game. Like, you'll notice that, like this one, if this was your ally, this one says gain 1 victory point for every ally that you have at the end of the game. That's what that symbol means there, that thing. This particular card, it is for, you get 1 extra victory point for each card you have in your hit area at the end of the game, regardless of the color. And so things like that will be increased. So on my next turn, I could, if like these are the cards, these obviously wouldn't be the cards that are sitting out there. What I could do is I could then take this one card and see if there's something I can do. Maybe I want to use it for an alliance now. So I can look out there and I notice that there is 2 cards that I could possibly take that have a 4 alliance on them. Now this particular card just has, very simply, a +1 knife. Now if you guessed that just gives you +1 knife stat, that's exactly correct. So on my turn, when I play my cards, I would get to add that +1 knife stat into that particular area or that particular action. What this particular one does is actually an action. You can see that it shows that card sitting there, and you slide it and then slide it into your hand. What it is take any one card from your ally area, and then you can place it in your hand, goon side up. So if you wanted to, with this action, you could take somebody that you'd taken as an ally and move it in your hand. Now, all of these actions, and there's plenty of them, and you can see here, I don't have cards show everything, but like, this particular one, takes place any card from your hand into city, boss side up, and then take a card from the city into your hand. So you can kind of move them back, add a 5th card to the city, or a 7th, and a 4 to 6 player game, and so on and so forth. All of these actions and all of these things that add, all those things you can do. You can do every single one of them. There isn't any limitation, and you can do them in any order you wish as well. Some of these will allow you to do like an extra action, like both this one and that one. Like if you do a higher action, you can immediately do another higher action with this one. And like this one, if you do a hit action, you can immediately do another hit action. Now notice this is only if they are considered to be allies underneath. And the thing is with this game, allies are great. They give you lots of different bonuses and abilities, but unless you like get a card like this that allows you to get points out of the allies, they aren't going to be worth any points in the game. At the end of the game, what you want is you want to have done a lot of hits. So like on this turn, like so let's say I did that and I allied myself with this guy, so I get that +1 knife. So you place it underneath like that, and then if you get more, you just keep placing it underneath like so, and so you can continue to like add it and have it continue to scroll down like that. But so then we take this, and we're going to put it over there. On my next turn, I don't have any cards in my hand. So what I have to do is I have to just take a refresh action. And that takes all the cards that are in my fatigue area and puts them back into my hand. And so now I can have all these cards in my hand. So it'll go around again, and then it's my turn. So now maybe I just want to get some points. I want to take out a guy. There's a couple guys with 7s out there. And I can take those guys. So I could even take them with, remember I have the 2 and the 4 right there. That's 6. I have the +1 there. I can keep this one in my hand. And I can go ahead and play those 2, fatigue those 2, and then I could take this one and I can do a hit, and I can go ahead and put him over here because I've successfully killed him. I've taken him out, and at the end of the game, he's going to be worth 7 points. Whatever it took to actually kill them or take them as a hit is that they're worth that many points at the end of the game. And then once again, we open up a space, we place it, replace it like so, and this continues on and continues on and continues on. Each person taking their actions, taking allies, fatiguing out their players, taking more, taking these things as hiring them, putting them in their hand, and so on and so forth, doing all those things until what happens, and I'm just going to kind of speed things along here, until what happens is you get towards the bottom of the deck, and let's just say, like so. So there's no more cards in the top of the deck, and these are the only 6 cards that are left. Now, as those cards get taken out, what happens is that this one's gone, and this one's gone, and slowly but surely these things are going to get hit, or removed for whatever reason, but we're not replacing them. And eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be one left. And that card then becomes the Kingpin. This particular card, they are considered to be, basically the capo de capi, the person that's in charge of everything. And whatever, group this particular one belongs to, this would be the Hong Kong Triads. Whatever group that they belong to, all the other things that you took as hits, so let's just say, we had a lot of hits, but let's just, for whatever, we'd have a lot more cards than this at the end, but you were totaling up all your points. Any that would match the color of the Kingpin, you have to toss those out because of the fact that the Kingpin is upset with you for killing his friends. But you would total up all the other points of all the other cards that you have. And that's where the fun actually gets, because you're going to be looking at the different cards that you have and looking at the different points you have, and people are going to be trying to make sure that they kill off the ones, or trying to leave kill off the ones that don't match up, so to speak. So they want to leave the Kingpin left of one that they killed the least of, and everybody's gonna be trying to do that, and that's where kind of the fun begins towards the very end, because you're going to want to be trying to keep the ones alive that you don't have a lot of those particular cards in your hit area. And then at the very end, then of course, then you total up everybody's points, and whoever scored the most points there at the end of the game, including the bonus points if you have any allies, will win the game. So this is one of those really, really fun games where each card can be used for multiple different things, and there's lots of games out there that I can liken this to. But one that really made me think of it was kind of like a lighter, differently themed Glory to Rome in a lot of ways for me, and quicker playing. And I had a lot of fun with this. I think the artwork is fantastic. But let me tell you more about that in my conclusion. Alright, thank you for sitting through that and learning how to play Chibi Mobsters. At the very end of the gameplay there, I likened this game to a kind of a lighter Glory to Rome. Glory to Rome is one of my favorite games of all time. It was one of those games that kind of took that whole idea of multiple cards being used for multiple purposes, along with having a little display that you have in front of you that you put the cards with. And I don't know for sure, but I would be really surprised if this game wasn't inspired in some way by the mechanisms that Glory to Rome used. Now, as I said, Glory to Rome is one of my favorite games, and when I played this game, I immediately latched onto that idea, and I immediately latched onto the wonderful abilities of each of the different cards and how they are used, and how they have differing resources. And there is this marvelous aspect to the game of how do I want to use that card? Because when it's your turn, depending on the cards you've used and how many cards you have in your hand and what have you, you have this wonderful tough decision to make. Do I want to take this card for points? Will the ally ability be worth it for me at this point? More worth it, at this point in the game? Will I be able to, next turn, will I still have cards available? Do I want to take that card and have it in my hand? How valuable will that card be for me in my hand at this point? And there's all those wonderful decisions to make, and the game kind of goes through stages. At the beginning, you're kind of building up your deck, building up the different cards you think that will be valuable to you that you can use. You're going to be building up some of the ally bonuses that are going to be most useful for you at the beginning of the game. You're not going to get a lot of ally bonuses at the end, except for the ones that help your victory points, of course. But and so you have this wonderful, fun moment where it's build up my hand and start killing off some guys and adding to my kill pile. And then, okay, we're getting close to the end. Okay, now I need to start, having my hand go to work for me as far as, increasing my victory point totals as well. And then you have that wonderful end where it's you're starting to worry, about, well, wait a minute, how many, I have a ton of Russian mob here in my kill pile. If that one card is left and they're the kingpin, I'm screwed. I'm not going to win the game. And so you have this wonderful thing where you're trying to make sure, that you kill that off. And because of the fact that there are abilities people have of putting cards back up into the city or adding cards and things like that, you have to stay on your toes and make sure that nobody kind of slips that in past you towards the end of the game and kind of buries your victory point total. And for all those reasons and a lot more, I love games that give me tough decisions, and I love games that have cards or spaces or parts of the game that have multiple uses. And I have to determine what's the best use for this particular card or spot or whatever at this point in the game, and how fluid that is, and how I have to kind of roll with the game and change as the game continues. And for all those reasons, I think chibiMobsters is an absolutely fantastic game. The artwork, as I said, is really cool looking. It reminds me of my old Super Nintendo games. I can't remember, like Fight City or something like that. I can't remember what the name of the game, but it reminds me of that particular look of the game, and I love the theme. I love mobster theme games, and this could have been about fishing or pirates or whatever, but the fact that they made it about mobsters really struck a chord with me, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And when we played it, we were using different accents and things like that, and having a lot of fun with it. So it's highly interactive. You can't really attack each other, but you can kind of screw each other over depending on seeing what people are going for and what they have. And so I enjoy the level of banter and the level of competitiveness that the game has above all else. So go ahead and check that one out. If you are a fan of card games, if you were looking for a Glory to Rome light, I would definitely suggest taking a look at this one, because I think you'd enjoy it a great deal. Alright, so there you go. That is the game. If you have any questions about it, please ask away. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, this is me telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.